First off, John, great to have you back in El Paso, and you've been burning up Twitter for the last hour.
Man, first off, what's going on, Steve? I ain't talked to you in a minute, man. You know you're one of my favorite people out here in El Paso, man.
I can tell you this. I never had more fun with a player than with you, John, because you came into the studio. You were great. We had some good times when you were here, but I got to give you a lot of credit, man, because after your first or second year at UTEP, there were a lot of people that were wondering, would you be able to take the heat with Coach Floyd and his team and stick it out for all 4 years? Not only did you do that, you greatly improved over those years as well, and you're kind of like a perfect example of what we've been talking about, Bo.
Right, I could have easily left, especially after my first year. They could they could have kicked me out. They really could have kicked me off the team. But Coach kept me, and then I came back my second year, and I had a good year. We were if y'all don't remember, we were the youngest. We went from being the oldest team in America to being the youngest team in America that very next year. And I had a good year, and then we beat Memphis that year. And, I could have left that year too, but I was loyal to Coach Floyd. I could have left. I could have transferred and went somewhere, maybe a Power 5 school, what they call a major or Power 5 conference school. But, I stayed loyal to Coach because, he could have kicked me off that first year, So I stayed loyal, and, what happened for the rest of the 4 years.
Now, John, let me ask you this, okay? When you first arrived, obviously Tim Floyd's personality probably wasn't what you might have thought or expected going into it. At the same time, how much of it was, like you said, you were tested. Your first year, that could have been the case. Second year, you could have left. And then you stuck around, you played all 4 years. Did you have, whether it's other schools or AAU coaches or whoever, people that were kind of in your ear telling you, hey, Bo, you can get out of here. The grass is greener someplace else. Or was that not necessarily the case for you personally when you were at UTEP?
Oh, of course. There's always outside forces coming in and, just coming into whatever you got going, especially as a young kid. I don't know these kids' situation, and I don't know, if it's mom and dad or just mom or, just dad. But, with me, it was just me and my mom, and I had, mentors and other things like that. And, yeah, I had a lot of people in my ear, Steve. So, I can only imagine what some of these kids are going through.
John Bohannon with us now. Yep.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. Listen, there's a time delay between Hong Kong and El Paso, so that's exactly right. So here's what's going to happen, John. I'm going to when I ask you the next question, I'm just going to give it to you for a little while. When I hear about 2 or 3 seconds of dead air, I know then we'll start talking again. But getting back to again the situation at hand. Now we don't know when you're a player from England and you come here and you're expecting to get eligible. In Josh McSwiggan's case, it doesn't happen. Stays in El Paso the first year. Was expected not only to be eligible but to be an immediate contributor. Maybe he got homesick. Maybe there's something else. Who knows? Broderick Jones didn't play a lot, had been at San Diego State, then UTEP got him, was highly regarded. But the point is this, there's a ton of transfers around college basketball. I get that. But do you think that ultimately players today are softer now or are more worried about minutes, playing time, and everything else than, let's say, guys were 5, even 10 years ago?
Well, with all the ball is life and all the things like that, everybody's going to the league after the first year. So, that's everybody's mindset. Everybody's a lottery pick after their first year. So, I guess when it doesn't happen, it's kind of like, well, especially these kids. These are kids. You got to remember that 18, 19 years old. They don't, maybe some of them haven't learned to look at themselves. Well, oh, man, why am I averaging only 2 points a game, 2 rebounds a game? I'm 6'11", 6'10". I don't know. McSwinigan, I'm not sure about that. The kids from England, that's got to be tough, But Sometimes Tim Floyd is a coach. If you can play, you're gonna play. So, you know, some of these kids need to start looking in the mirror at themselves, and just trying to improve on their game, and then come back and then see what happens after that. After that long summer in the gym that some of them need.
We're talking right now to John Bohannon here on Sports Talk. By the way, he's on Twitter at Johnny Slick with 2 Ks on Twitter. I love your Twitter handle. That is tremendous. And I would expect nothing less from Johnny Slick, who's given us a few minutes here on the show. Hey, by the way, we've never really had ex-players come on the show and describe what Tim Floyd was like as a coach. As a head coach, did you hate him as a player? Was he a guy that motivated you, knew how to get the most out of you? Did you grow as a person from a maturity standpoint over those 4 years with Tim Floyd? Tell us a little bit about your relationship with you and Coach, and really what he's like. What makes him tick on the court?
Well, it's funny. You asked did I hate him? Well, it's more like he hated me. I felt like for sometimes. Man, but Coach Floyd, man, I improved tremendously as a mature adult under him, and that can't be understated. But I also got tremendously better as a player. I always had talent, but Coach just kind of like put my focus where where he shifted it and where he wanted it and molded it, and I got better from that standpoint. He's a demanding coach. He's gonna demand. He wants your best effort every day. And a lot of guys coming in, they don't have being talented, because all these guys are talented. They're D1 players. So maybe in high school they didn't have to go as hard, or maybe they weren't pushed as hard. But he's definitely trying to push those buttons and get the most out of you. And with the coach, that can rub players the wrong way when he's not coddling you all the time, like maybe your high school coach is. But he's just very demanding, very.
Why do you think that all these years later, you think that he hated you during your UTEP days?
I was joking. I was joking, Steve. It was kind of, I'm, if you remember anything from my tenure, I wasn't always the most, I was kind of rough around the edges. You know what I mean, Steve? So it's
yes,
like,
I remember those days. I do remember those days.
But yes, it was, he means well, though, and once he figured out that I meant well, I think he always kind of knew that, but, it was just kind of, okay, Bo, we got to get you to keep coming more. We want your best every day. And that's what it kind of was. So that's how I know that he's just very demanding on the guys. But he means well. He wants you to be the best you can be. That's what he means by being that demanding.
I always remembered you as a pretty passionate player on the court, and you had your share of outbursts over the years, and Coach Floyd didn't like some of them. Some of the fans were also a little worried about those outbursts, but I started to see you hone those last 2 years, and really your senior year was your coming out party, as well as your junior year, where it seemed like that was where you allowed your talent to do most of the talking on the court. But you played with passion, and you played with some fire out there.
Right, and maybe more kids are like that these days. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to watch UTEP that much last year, but they played a lot different than how we play, and that's how I know that coach is going to do what he needs to do to try to win the game. So once I saw those numbers going up, like UTEP scoring 190, I'm like, wow, what's going on here? Like, yeah, coach is really, he's going to play to his personnel strength. So, I mean, I don't know, Steve. It's, guys are just kind of, I don't know what's going on with the guys and the transferring these days. But, that's the big thing around the NCAA. So it's been like, well, I think you told me, 800 or more this year. So I don't know. I think that's got to be a record.
A lot of guys transferring out of D1, that's for sure. It's about 800 right now. It's crazy. Now, as far as what you're up to these days, tell everybody about what's going on with you professionally out there in Hong Kong.
Oh yes, I play for a team out here in Hong Kong. We're all around we're all around Hong Kong. We're playing all around in different gyms, and it's a league out, the top league out here, and for 2 more months. And, I'm just doing my thing and trying to take care of my son, who's out there in El Paso, by the way. I hope he's listening. He's 1 year old. Daddy loves you, boy. What's up, Morgan? But, yes, sir. And when I come back to the United States, I will be in El Paso. So, I might have to come on the show, come back in the studio, just me and you for old time's sake.
Well, I promise you one thing. We will not blow up your Twitter handle like we did years ago when you were playing for the Miners.
Hey, man, I'm back on Twitter. I had to stay down for a couple years, man. They had to X me out for a couple years, but I'm back. I'm not under any UTEP supervision or anything like that. So I'm gonna give it to you straight. I'm gonna give it to you straight now. I'm gonna give it to you everything straight and uncut. So, hey, you know what it is. They know.
Right. Now, folks, you can follow John on Twitter at Johnny Slick. That's JOHNNY Slick with 2 Ks on Twitter. All right, do me a favor. When are you coming back to El Paso?
Yes, sir.
When are you going to be back? Are you back this summer?
You said when? Okay, I'll be back in probably about mid-July.
Okay, when you're back in mid-July, I'll make a note. I'll get a hold of you on your cell phone. If I can reach you in Hong Kong, I can sure as heck reach you in El Paso, and you're definitely invited to sit in with us and have a fun afternoon with us on the program, all right?
All right. That sounds good.
All right, beautiful. Listen,
El
keep balling.
Paso, I love you. Miners